Hey, what's up guys, Bajheera here. So in this video, I'm just gonna have some 5.3 BG action rolling in the background. The only thing that you might want to think about for this battleground is I am still running my strength gemming spec, so if you're going to compare the damage between this video and some of the videos where I'm running a crit gem spec, feel free to do that. Let me know which one you think is dealing more damage, because it's kind of hard for me to tell, but either way, what I'm going to do for this video is I'm going to go over some of the 5.4 projected warrior changes, and I would advise you to not get too excited about all these changes because they are often quite variable between now and when they actually go live in the 5.4 release. But some of the things are very, very exciting, and I think most of these things will probably end up staying. But take these with a grain of salt, and try not to get your heart set on these changes too much because they are probably subject to change. But I'm going to go over some of the notable ones. I probably will forget a few of them, but let's go ahead and get started. So one of the first things to think about is Bladestorm. Its cooldown is being reduced to 60 seconds. Whether or not that'll actually make it something that I pick, I don't think so. Shockwave is too good. It's just so much PvP utility in terms of locking down a target to burst them, or to peel for your teammates, or just to add some CC to the mix. I think Shockwave is still way too good to pass up. In a PvP scenario, a PvE scenario, I don't know, I don't really like PvE hardcore, so usually I just take whatever talents I feel like. But sure, Bladestorm's a fun ability, it's an iconic warrior ability, and some warriors might enjoy having a slightly lower cooldown on it. In order for Bladestorm to be used, I think they need to either give it massive buffs, put it on the baseline for warrior talents or warrior skills in general, or what they could do is they could replace Stormbolt in that final warrior talent tier, and replace Stormbolt and put in Bladestorm instead, because I don't know, I think it would make sense there, and Stormbolt also would make sense being in the sort of stun tree with Shockwave and Dragon Roar. But I don't know if they're actually going to do that, but having Bladestorm and Shockwave as a warrior would be a dream come true for me. I'd probably happily give up Avatar if I could have Bladestorm again, but whatever, it's Blizzard's game, they get to do what they want. I've made that suggestion for a very, very long time to put Bladestorm on the final tier of the warrior talent tree, and you know, basically swap out Stormbolt, maybe give Stormbolt a bit of a buff, make it like a 6-second stun, so it's on par with something like Hodge or Asphyxiate, but whatever. We got a lot of changes to go through, and I won't dwell on that Bladestorm thing too much, but maybe we'll come back and talk about that at a later time. So Titan's Grip for the Fury spec, the two-handed wielding Fury spec, now allows you to use staves and polearms if you guys really wanted to whack people with staves. Or one of the things I might do is I might go grab that polearm from Firelands, the one that makes your character huge with the agility staff, and just have that as my offhand and do some Fury videos like that, just have my character just towering over everybody. I don't know if this is really going to be that big of a change, but sure, maybe for levelers, if they have two-handed weapons that they want to use because it has big weapon damage, and equip some stabs and polearms and go ham. So there's also a buff. I think that one of the things that's going to be happening with warriors is that we're going to be AoE cleave machines, and there's a lot of changes that sort of involve this. So the first thing that we can look at is slam damage is increased by 10% when they have a Colossus Smash debuff, and along with that, slam is going to cleave 2 yards. In either, if there's enemies within 2 yards. I think it's only going to hit 2 extra enemies, but still, it's going to cleave 35% of the damage, which is pretty sick. And along with that, sweeping strikes is going to be increased. The amount of damage that actually gets cleaved is going up from 50% to 75%. And Thunderclap is getting buffed by 50% for arm spec, and it's only going to cost 20 rage for arm spec. So if you put all those changes together, that is a whole lot of AoE damage, and that's something that I like a lot, because you run into BGs and you want to spam damage, or you're in arena, and one of the things that warriors don't have the most utility in the game by any means, but one of the things that you can do in order to increase your utility is just do ridiculous amounts of damage. You can peel with damage, you apply pressure with damage, and so having all this cleave action is going to be pretty fun, and it's going to be a whole lot of fun for comps like WLS or maybe TSG, who do rely a lot on cleaving enemies down, so that'll be fun. Gotta be a little bit careful with KFC not to break traps, but I'm sure your seasoned warriors will be better at doing that than I am, perhaps. But anyway, moving on. They are trying to buff our healing abilities a little bit. Impending Victory is going to be increased to 30% of a 30% heal, which is not bad. That's pretty cool. I don't know if it's going to change me over from using Second Wind or not, but we'll see. Enraged regen heals being increased to a 10% heal and a 10% hot, and so while enraged, that's going to go to a 20% instant heal and a 20% hot. So that's a lot of healing, but like I said, I'm not sure if I'm going to switch over from Second Wind or not. Stormbolt PvE damage has been increased to 500% from 375%, so I'm not sure about that. Vigilance, it's going to behave differently. Now it's going to act like it's just going to reduce damage. It doesn't make you take damage anymore. It's not like a sacrifice, which kind of sucks because now you can't like sack yourself out of CC, so it makes it even less effective for PvP, I think, because Safeguard also reduces damage and gets you out of roots, so we'll see about that. Warbringer, instead of stunning a target, it's not going to root them, so if you wanted to use Warbringer and Shockwave, you can. It's just not going to stun the target. If that root breaks on damage, I feel like it's going to be absolutely useless, but maybe if the root doesn't break on damage, you can at least keep your opponent there for a couple more seconds where you can wail on them, get your damage up. Now, some other things that we need to think about for warriors, in addition to this cleave machine thing, which I think is really, really cool. One of the things that's going on, and a lot of the strength classes are getting this too, it's an ability called Riposte. When the warrior dodges or parries an attack, they gain 50% of their parry and dodge as an additional bonus to critical strike for 20 seconds. I'm not sure if that's going to stay in the game the way that is, because that sounds like it's going to be a pretty strong ability. We're going to get a lot more passive crit, especially if you're stacking strength at this point, because as you know, strength gives you a little bit of parry rating. So I don't know, it's going to give you lots of options. For stacking crit is going to be strong because you're going to have a ton of crit anyway. But also if you want to stack strength, you're going to have some of that crit filled in. So I don't know, I might be going back to strength once this patch goes live. But you have options. You can either stack just huge amounts of crit from Riposte and your gems and all that, or you can stack strength. It sounds good. Either way to me. But I think probably my absolute favorite change out of all of these changes is that Hamstring is now off the global cooldown. It does have a 1-second cooldown on it, but that means that you can hamstring, you don't have to waste a whole global on it to hamstring, which I think is, it's like a small change, but for me it's like such a cool thing. I don't know, having abilities off the global cooldown makes such a big difference to me. And definitely don't forget that Shield Wall and Spell Reflect no longer require a shield, so it kind of breaks the RP aspect of the game. Like, your immersion might be totally ruined by being able to Shield Wall without a shield, but hey, these are changes I think need to be made, and I'm really excited about Warriors in 5.4, so I'll keep you posted if I can, and looking forward to it. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace!